This is for educational use only. Our group has permission for our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as educational material.
Managing and caring for the self.
The biological process of learning. The biological process of learning is how your brain changes when you learn something new. It works through neuroplasticity, which simply means your brain can grow and adjust. Your brain has cells called neurons that talk to each other. When you practice or repeat something, their connection gets stronger. This is called synaptic plasticity. A key part of this is long-term potentiation, which helps you remember things better. Different brain parts have roles too. The hippocampus helps you form memories, and the prefrontal cortex helps you understand and solve problems. A chemical called dopamine helps you feel good when you learn, which encourages you to keep going. In simple terms, learning happens when your brain builds stronger connection, making it easier to remember and use what you've learned.
Neuroplasticity is the brain ability to reorganize its structure, function, and neural connections throughout life in response to learning, experiences, or injury. So, it enables the brain to form new pathways and strengthen or eliminate existing ones, adapting to new information or damage, such as after a stroke. Synonyms included neural plasticity and brain malleability. Behavioral change. In the process of altering a person's actions, habits, attitudes, or through patterns, often intentionally to achieve better outcomes like improved health, productivity, or safety.
Let's talk about metacognition. Metacognition is thinking about thinking, the awareness, understanding, and control of one's own cognitive process. It involves planning how to approach a learning task, monitoring, comprehension, and evaluating progress toward goals. The three components of metacognition is metacognitive knowledge or awareness, or the definition is understanding your cognitive abilities, tasks, requirements, and strategies. Example, I know I struggle with memorizing dates or this task requires more time. Number 2, what are the importance of metacognition? Metacognition allows individuals to become more independent learners by moving from I can do this to how can I do this. It bridges the gap between knowing something and knowing how to apply that knowledge.
Cognitive load. Think of it as your brain like a smartphone with limited RAM. If you open too many tabs or distractions, the system might slow down. This is cognitive load. To keep your mental system fast, we have to manage three things. First, the task, the actual work, which we handle by breaking big jobs into smaller steps. Second, the noise, the clutter and the confusing instructions that we waste your energy. We need to delete that. And third, the learning, our actual goal of remembering the info. To stay efficient, follow three simple rules. Trim it by removing anything non-essential. Group it by keeping labels and pictures together so your eyes don't jump around. And step it by mastering one part before moving to the next step. In short, lower the noise to focus on the signals, clear your RAM so your brain can work better.
Evidence-based study strategies are learning methods proven by research in cognitive psychology and educational psychology. These strategies such as active recall and spaced repetition help improve memory, understanding, and learning performance. They help students manage their learning by choosing effective techniques that leads to better results. They highlight the role of metacognition and self-regulation, which allow learners to plan, monitor, and adjust their study habits. Overall, these strategies support brain and behavior changes, helping students become more effective and independent learners.
Fourth phase in the biological process of learning. The fourth phase is the stage before learning begins, where the brain prepares for the task. During this phase, the brain sets goals, builds motivations, and plans strategies. The prefrontal cortex helps with focus and decision making, while chemicals like dopamine increase readiness to learn. A positive mindset, self-confidence also improves brain activity.
Performance control phase, which is an important part of any planned operation. This phase focuses on checking if activities are going according to plan and if the objectives are being achieved. During this stage, actual performance is carefully measured and compared with expected result or standards. If there are any differences or problems, adjustments are made immediately to correct them. The main purpose of the performance control phase is to ensure efficiency, safety, and effectiveness. It involves monitoring progress, identifying errors, and making improvements when necessary. For example, in operation or projects, supervisors observe the work, collect data, and evaluate performance to maintain quality and avoid risks. This phase is very important because it helps prevent small issues from becoming bigger problems. It also supports better decision making and ensure that the goals of the plan are successfully met. In short, the performance control phase keeps everything on track and helps achieve the desired outcome.
The self-reflection phase is the final stage of a cyclical process, where learners evaluate their efforts and outcomes to inform future goals. Metacognition and self-regulation act as the primary drivers of this phase, transforming raw experience into actionable knowledge for personal and academic growth. To improve the self-reflection phase, the final stage of Zimmerman's self-regulated learning cycle, you need strategies that bridge the gap between thinking about what happened and doing something different next time.
Motivation is the internal process that initiates, guides, and maintains goal-oriented behavior. It is the force that makes you act, whether it's getting a glass or water to reduce thirst or studying late to pass a certification. Example, learning a new skill. Imagine a student who spends their free time studying advanced navigation techniques or complex mathematics. They aren't doing it for a grade because a teacher told them, or they do it because they find the logic of the subject fascinating and feel a sense of mastery when they solve a difficult problem. Hobbies. A person who paints or plays an instrument simply because they enjoy the creative process and the way it makes them feel in the zone. Emotional regulation is the ability to monitor, evaluate, and modify your emotional reaction to accomplish goals. It's not about suppressing feelings, but rather in managing them so they don't hijack your behavior. Example, examination to feel your heart racing and your responds within instead of thinking and